We are live. Welcome to Transaction Care. My name is Lillian Hernandez, but you can call me Lilly. Like the flower, because we are learning and growing together. And welcome back, everyone. It's been a minute. I know I said I was gonna go live. I know I said I was gonna go live 3 times last week. Wait, one, two, three. And then life got the best of me on Tuesday night. So the last time I went live was last Tuesday. And I said I was going to go live Wednesday, Thursday. I said, meet me in the chat. Unfortunately, I had a dental emergency, which led to me not being able to speak. I wasn't in any pain or anything like that. I just was, long story short, my bridges uh, fell out of my mouth. Yeah, can't believe I'm sharing this. But I got so let me backtrack a little bit just so you guys could understand. I have had multiple procedures to get these bridges done in my teeth over the past since 2022, I want to say. And ultimately, I got into an accident about 15 years ago, which resulted in my teeth chipping and moving and shifting. And I had to get an emergency procedure done. So I got an emergency root canal done to keep my teeth intact, my actual teeth. Then fast forward maybe like a decade later, around 2020, I think it was 2022. I'm blanking on the timeline right now, but my teeth start to really hurt. And I haven't had a cavity since I was a child. Like I didn't understand what was going on, but I just knew right here my two front teeth were hurting a lot. So I make an appointment at a dentist, and if you're wondering what does this have to do with business, this has everything to do with business, because if I can't speak, if I can't present myself online, whether it's in live stream, in videos that I create that generate business for me, I'm screwed. And essentially, um I mentioned last week I did the live stream that I had to leave early because I was going to a basketball game. And um did that, great time. Earlier that day when I was brushing my teeth, like I assumed it was a piece of glue, like the cement when they cement your teeth in, fell out. And I was a little worried. I was just like, oh my gosh, what's going on? Because what is that? What is that? And the last time they fell out, I understood why. This go around, I was taking care of my teeth. I was doing everything right. But unfortunately, it wasn't enough. And they popped out. So I was toothless. So my front teeth are not mine, because the root canal, eventually, when I had to get that procedure done like 4 years ago, the root canal died and there was no salvaging the tooth. And I was just stunned, because it was just like, yeah, and then you have to get this procedure done. It's going to cost this much money. And if you don't, you just won't have any teeth. And I was like, whoa, what do you mean I won't have any teeth? They were like, yeah, your tooth is dead. And they were just so nonchalant. And I still, have beef with the dentist, but I've been learning to change my attitude about the whole situation, because it's just so stressful going to the dentist, and it's traumatic because you're awake and they're just like pounding, you know, putting needles in your mouth, and it's just aggressive. It's just an aggressive procedure every time I go to the dentist, even when I get my teeth cleaned. But basically, long story short, I grind my teeth. And why do I grind my teeth? Stress, um, getting older. So all of that is impacted by my day-to-day habits, and what I'm consuming and how I'm maintaining my mental health. So when that happened, I said, let me just cancel the live streams. I'm not going to do anything next week. I mean, that week. And yeah, it was a lot to bear last week, and I was sad that I couldn't go live, but I also was like, let me listen to God, and let me not excuse me, let me not force the situation, because if I'm not supposed to Like if I'm not supposed to go live or do this, then I probably shouldn't. And I'm glad that I didn't, like I said, I'm glad I didn't force the issue because it would have been bad. It would have been bad. But I did take a meeting last week. And in that meeting, I don't know if you're in here, but I did a 90-minute strategy session on Thursday evening because we had both just kept rescheduling. And I said, I'm not going to reschedule this person. I'm not going to do any of that. I want to make sure that I'm present for this person. We've rescheduled too many times already. So I'm not going to do that again. Okay. So I took the meeting and I'm so glad that I did because it unlocked something in me that it unlocked, or it just, I had like a breakthrough with like limiting mindsets because prior to that, prior to my dental emergency, I was starting to build momentum. You guys see, I've been doing these live streams, trying to get more coaching sessions going and um, introducing interviews here on this platform. But in the background, things were still very disorganized and messy because I would look at certain tasks on my to-do list and I wouldn't take them seriously. I would look at certain tasks on my checklist and I'd be like, oh, I'll do it later. I'd record all these vlogs and then let them pile up until it got overwhelming. And I would do the same thing with my files. I would just sit there and wait until the last possible minute to look at them, or I'd do something and then I wouldn't touch them for a couple of days. Not because I needed to, but I just would just out of sight, out of mind. And that's not a good way of running your business. So I had to definitely fix that in terms of getting in check with my files, and if YouTube is my goal, not if it is, if YouTube is a part of my goal in terms of monetization, monetizing my YouTube, increasing, my coaching opportunities and spaces for my community, why am I not taking that seriously? Why am I not showing up and keeping the promises that I said to myself in terms of staying accountable for this week's tasks? I was not being accountable for this week's work because I'd say, oh, this is easy. I'll do it later. This is easy. I'll do it later. Then all of these easy tasks became a pile. So it went from a couple of things to now I have a whole day's worth of work on a Thursday and Friday when I just want to relax and not have to worry about a stressful week, end of the week. So that was on me to realize, okay, this content, I can't afford an editor right now. So I have to do all this myself, right? But if I want to afford an editor one day, I can't procrastinate on this right now. I have to get these videos going. I have to build momentum. I have to incorporate these habits into my lifestyle and not skip a step, not skip a day. And the whole time during my dental emergency, I was still able to sit down and work. I wasn't in any pain. It was just an unfortunate mishap that occurred and prevented me from just being on camera. I was still able to talk. I adjusted to not having my bridges in place until I got them fixed on Friday. But did I edit anything? Did I update my files? No. And I really had to sit with myself all weekend because I was in my feelings. I was struggling with just, gosh, like I can't believe that happened. But at the same time, I did look at this as an opportunity to laugh and to get reignited, to rebuild what all of this is going to look like. Because now I have a reference point in this journey where this could be taken away at any given moment. Whether I do everything right or not, it still can be taken away. And that's a reality that I have to accept, right? But now I'm squandering this opportunity because if my tasks, you know, call me to edit a video and I put it to the side, I procrastinate, I'll watch a video, I'll go to take a nap or whatever. How am I going to endure more? How am I going to be able to handle this when it becomes my full-time career? I need to imagine and actively treat YouTube, and you can insert whatever career or job you're pursuing in this next stage of your life, transaction coordination. I need to do what I say in my coaching sessions to you all. I need to treat, whether it's part-time, paid, unpaid, need to treat it as if it's already come true, as if it's already replaced other parts of my business that I'm wanting to replace. And I just wasn't moving that way. I wasn't moving with this aggressive, I don't know if aggressive is the right word, but I just wasn't moving with I wasn't moving with enough force behind me. I wasn't moving with enough fight behind me. I was complacent with enough, and that's good and all, but at a certain point, as I'm trying to grow and build this platform out, I just wasn't being strict enough on myself. And that's another word, much like the words systems, discipline, that I had to reframe in my mind and rebuild that relationship with those types of words, because I always considered discipline, systems, structure, um, strict as words of punishment, as I looked at them with a negative connotation. I didn't look at those words as I didn't look at them positively. Like, I would clamor, I would get small whenever I heard words like that. I would shrink, which would prevent me from committing all the way. And excuse me. And this actually leads me to what I want to talk about today in today's live stream is habits, responsibilities, boundaries. So I could have easily made excuses for missing last week's live streams, for not showing up. And I could have been easily at a point where I'm just like, you know what, forget it. I give up. I give up on the whole plan. It's not meant to be. I'm just another idea of mine that I really, 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 really wanted to work in the trash, and that's how extreme my mind can get sometimes in terms of building and creating and being vulnerable in a place where everything is still so unknown. But the pieces that I do have, I have to make those work to the best of my ability and remember that every single day. Like, this is a one step at a time process. And God willing, I have those big leaps where they take me further in this journey. And I'm not always, having to just do things one step at a time. But for now, if that's the route I take, that's the right. That is the route I will take. And letting go of this idea of kind of like a gambler's mindset, like a casino jackpot mindset. It's like, yeah, I want all this to work. I want my videos to go viral. I want hundreds and thousands of followers and subscribers and comments and viewers. Like, that is great and all, but I still have to build this community out in a way that's aligned with what I'm actually presenting and attracting the right people that are needing this information. So maybe right now that's just a small group of people. Maybe later it's a bigger group of people. But if you're transitioning into a new career, such as transaction coordination, also make sure you drop your comments, leave them, if you're in here, say hello. Let me know where you guys are checking in from. I want to interact with you guys. Let me open the chat. The chat is being covered right now by my menu bar. I don't know why it does that. There we go. All right, so I'm going to say hello in the chat. But yeah, let me know if you guys have any questions so far. My contact lenses finally arrive tomorrow. And as much as I am grateful for my glasses, I'm more productive when I have my contact lenses on. Let me know if you guys can relate. And the way the camera is mirroring my face right now, it's making my whole, like, it's like my glasses are crooked. They're not. Like, on this angle, they're cool, but on this angle, they're crooked. But I'm definitely more productive when I wear my glasses. I mean, when I wear my contact lenses versus my glasses. And again, all of these medical health things that we have to consider, adjustments and habits, responsibilities, boundaries, right? So, as a real estate transaction coordinator, that is a big role to take on. And if you don't have any experience in the real estate world, it's going to be difficult to get into this space if you're not willing to learn, if you're not willing to put in the effort, change your habits, immerse yourself into this world, into this environment, schedule those coaching calls, schedule those meetings with people that you watch their content, myself included. If you want to take a course, how much can you afford? If you want to hire a coach, how much can you afford? These are questions that you have to get real about yourself. And if you don't answer those questions up front, you're just going to be stagnant and stuck in the same place another 6 months from now. Hey, Rosie. So did you guys have a chance to watch my recent vlog that I posted yesterday? If you don't know, every Monday I post a new vlog, whether it's a solo episode with myself or an interview with a colleague in the industry. I am a transaction coordinator. I've worked in the real estate industry since 2004, believe it or not, more than half my life at this point. And over the years, I've learned so much, and I use this platform, this channel, Transaction Care, that I've named, to share those journeys with you all and getting to know you guys, but also being a resource in your journey, because I know a lot of you want to be transaction coordinators because of freedom. That is a word I heard a lot this week from my coaching clients. And freedom, as amazing as it sounds and as tempting as it is to want to quit your job or just get out of the rat race, you can still have freedom in the situation that you're in right now. But you have to be willing to shift your mindset and look at your environment from a different lens. There's a song by Patti LaBelle I reference all the time called New Attitude. And it's what the title of the song is called. It's like, I got a new attitude just about life. And I get caught up in having a bad attitude a lot of the times because things don't go my way, because I'm stubborn, because I'm incapable of making a decision. And I just want, just make the decision for me. Like, come on, YouTube, like, just pay me so I don't have to do these files anymore. Come on, TikTok, take off so I don't have to do these files anymore. But maybe there's something deeper within this process that I'm not realizing. And in order to continue to improve and show up, I have to ride this wave out. So in that video that I posted yesterday, it was basically a follow-up from a video I did. I didn't realize it was from 5 months ago, but I posted a video 5 months ago talking about becoming a real estate transaction coordinator in 60 days. And it was one of my best videos this year. It got over 800 views, which is amazing. I would love for all of my videos to average that many views, especially in the first week. And I actually got a couple of paid coaching clients from that video, which is amazing. So in that video, I broke down step by step a way to get you started in this space in real estate, because the freedom starts from you making the choice first and foremost, realizing you have the agency, you can advocate for yourself, you can side hustle this until it becomes your reality full time. That's freedom. Freedom is not located in another job. If anything, that's resistance, that's restriction. Freedom is up here and how you apply it and view the world. And that's what I've learned in this journey of being self-employed. And transaction coordination has just been the vehicle real estate has been just this world I exist in, but transaction coordination has taken me in all directions because I allowed it to. When I was just a transaction coordinator, I excelled. I probably made the most money I ever made in my life. But when I was tired of being a transaction coordinator and I realized there's more to life that I want to experience and explore, transaction coordination started to decline. But mentally, spiritually, emotionally, that part of me started to increase because now I'm prioritizing things that I want to do, need to do. I'm challenging the mindsets and the norms that I once believed in. What does freedom mean to me? What does freedom mean to me? And what does freedom mean to you? Let's put it in the comments. What does freedom mean to you? And if you need more help, what does freedom mean to you in your career? Okay? Think about that. Give it some time to think about what does freedom mean to you? I had a couple of coaching sessions in the past week, and both of them said, I just want freedom. I just want freedom. And I would challenge them, not aggressively, just gradually. And I'm going to do the same with you all as well. What are you trying to be free from? That's the main question we have to get the answer to before we can move on to the next career. Whether it's real estate, transaction coordination, content creation, fashion, food, what other industries that are out there, sports, whatever the case, tech. Rosie said, not rushing. That is freedom, not having to rush. But what are you rushing through? And why are you rushing? For me, when I hear not rushing, I immediately thought about my sleep habits. So we're going to talk about today habits, responsibilities, boundaries. If I'm having to rush through my day, is that because I wasn't able to say no to all of these tasks? Maybe I've bitten off way more than I can chew. Or maybe I'm sleeping super late, so now I'm waking up groggy, irritated, annoyed, hating everything and everybody, and I'm moving super slow in my day-to-day actions. So now I'm having to rush through everything and I can't enjoy a simple meal because I have to maybe skip lunch or I have to um rush through my work, and then the day ends. I go home and I have to rush and cook dinner, have to eat, make sure I'm good, make sure if I have a family, make sure everyone at home is good. Is that why we're rushing? So freedom could be yours if your definition of freedom is not having to rush. That could mean, okay, let's look at how my day-to-day actions are today and where can I remove something so I could free up more time and space. I actually just did this recently with my sleep, which is why I brought up sleep, is because I've always been a night owl. It's something about the nightlife I just love. If you look up the word outside, it's my face. But in recent time, I'm not outside like I used to be. I'm in my early 40s. I still love a good party. I don't drink anymore. So the outside life, and I don't hang out with the same friends that I used to. So the outside life doesn't call me the same way. I don't answer the calls the same way that I used to. But I still have this mindset of FOMO at night to where all day I've been working and I haven't had any me time. So now I want to feel like a whole day is dedicated to me in the evening in the nighttime. So now I'm up scrolling, I'm watching all my favorite content creators, I'm eating, I'm doing the most, but I'm not really working on myself. And then days go by, weeks go by, boom, 5 months goes by in reference to that video. And I look up at life and I'm just like, oh my God, where'd the time go? What have I been doing this whole time? I just feel like I'm rushing and nothing's going the way I want it to go. I don't, I feel bound to this job. Everything sucks. All because I refuse to change my sleep habits. And oh, do you guys hear that baby crying? I don't know. That baby's always crying. Hopefully she's okay, but the older she gets, the more she cries. I just hope she's okay. So let me go back to what I was saying. Hi, everyone in the chat. Let's see who's in here. Ty, Leslie, Rosie. Have we spoken? Because I don't know all of you guys by your usernames, but if we have spoken or had a discovery call, say hi or say me. But if this is our first time interacting, welcome. Let's see, I've been following you, interested in starting, trained as a TC. Hi, that's right. Hello. Okay, cool. So basically what I've been talking about is, freedom. A lot of people want to get into transaction coordination because of freedom. Hey, Steph. What's up? I'm also live on TikTok, guys. So if you guys want to make your way to YouTube, that would be amazing. I don't stay on TikTok too long, but I just get on here to reel you guys over onto YouTube. Everything's under the name Transaction Care. But if you guys want to stay on TikTok, what up? Let's chat. But I'm basically talking about right now freedom. And that's what I brought up in yesterday's vlog. Because many of you bring up this word thinking, which is fine. I used to think this way as well. I used to believe that I had to wait to experience things like freedom or independence, right? But essentially, the same way I would audit a file is how I would audit my life. And I posted that video yesterday as a follow-up to a video I did 5 months ago talking about, giving you guys tips and a strategy to start a transaction coordination journey, whether it's a business, a job, just getting into real estate. I gave you guys a breakdown of how to accomplish this and get it going in 60 days. A couple people followed through. A couple people have scheduled sessions with me, which is amazing. But I realized some people are still feeling lost and confused, right? So feel free to drop any questions in the chat if you guys have any questions or if you want to ask me anything specific to what I'm talking about, but also how you can get started on your journey. Glad to help. I don't need to talk all about, what I'm talking about either. We can just jump straight into the Q&A. All right. But if transaction coordination is going to take you 60 days or 60 months or 6 months, 7 months, if it's going to take some time, what can you do today to free up your life to not still be in this same structure, the same rat race, the same hamster wheel? Because when I was at my 9 to 5 a decade ago, I was sitting there struggling just mentally, like, how do I get out of this? How do I get out of this? And I kept thinking I had to just go to another job and I'd feel free. And I realized it was in my habits. Being a night owl has impacted me today. But back then, I used to drive to work, super comfortable, listening to my music, never really challenging myself and reading books or listening to podcasts. So I started doing that every single day. I stopped driving to work, forced myself to get up earlier because I was a night owl. And back then, 10 years ago, I was partying a lot. Okay, guys, whole different life. And then getting up and going to work. So the fact that now I'm saying no to these outside activities, forcing myself to go to bed earlier because I want to improve my life, because I want better for myself. I want to get out of my current situation. I can't take the leap today. I want to save, my goals were to save more money, to go out a lot less, and to wake up earlier. Okay. So what did I change in those moments that I had control over? Could I have quit my job? Yeah, but I really didn't have a solid plan. And I highly recommend everyone have a solid plan if your goal is to quit to start a business or to start a whole new career. Don't just quit your job today because you have a feeling. That feeling is probably right, but we can scale it back a little bit, okay? Because real estate may be a part of the journey, but there may be something totally left field that you're actually supposed to do, okay? Which is related to your passions, your interests, your hobbies, your skills, your personality as well. And as I mentioned, if freedom is something that you're wanting to experience, how can you experience freedom today? And if I didn't change my habits back then, instead of eating at the office and being miserable, oh my God, now I have to spend 9 hours at the office, I'd force myself to walk. And because I didn't have a car, I couldn't just drive anywhere. I would walk from my office to my favorite deli, which was 30 minutes there and 30 minutes back. So if I wanted to eat, walk, and get back to the office, I had to do it quickly. But I challenged myself every day to do something different. And I would get fresh air. I would be, alone with my thoughts. I would listen to podcasts that would inspire me, encourage me, that with people that were doing exactly what I wanted to do, not necessarily in real estate, but just people who had quit their job, left the corporate world, left the 9 to 5 world to be with themselves. And ultimately, it paid off to this day, a decade later, because I made the intentional decisions to change my habits. And as a transaction coordinator, I think it's important to have solid habits as well. You know, no two transactions are ever the same, but it's important to know that you have to show up. You're responsible for a lot of different tasks. And if your habits are, I'll do it later. Oh, it's easy. It's not too much. I can knock that out in 5 minutes. But yeah, like me last week, I had a dental emergency. All of my tasks that I said on Monday and Tuesday that I'll do later, I could no longer do. So I put myself at risk of losing potential business. I felt, everything fell behind in schedule because I chose to procrastinate. I chose to be inactive. And God was like, okay, I could take all this away. You know, it was it was a lot. So let's check the comments real quick. Interested in becoming a TC I'm assuming as well. I'm a new real estate agent, and because I'm somehow a smarty pants, I took really well to Lone Wolf, and I'm already doing TC work for my real estate mentor. Oh, that's amazing. And then Steph says, so if you guys see Realtor with the glasses, I interviewed her. Her interview is coming out this Monday. So turn on your notifications. If you're not subscribed, hit that subscribe button. I interviewed Steph in there because she has a cool story, and I'm glad I was able to share it with her. But she says habit training yourself is so hard, but so rewarding. 100% true. So it really requires a lot of effort on our parts when you're wanting to change your life, when you're wanting to change your environment and just the way you think. I still fall back and have those thoughts of like, of self-doubt, but I'm no longer in the same environment that I was 10 years ago. Now I'm having those same thoughts in an environment that I love. I'm in my home. I'm in my home office, and I've created a space for myself, and I maintain this lifestyle because I've improved my habits and how I think about things and my attitude towards certain things. And when all of that happened last week, I kind of got in the dumps of it all. I was just like, oh gosh, I don't want to do any of this. Can I just win the lottery already? But even then, I would still feel a pulling to do these live streams. This is why I do these live streams, because I love it doing it. I love enjoy doing it. I love producing content. And one day I know it's going to pay off financially. But right now, I have to just grind it out and show up consistently. And believe it or not, there were 2 solid months where I did these live streams with 0 or 1 person in the chat. So the fact that we have people on TikTok, and it was from 7 to 10 people at one point. There was 20, I think, last week, in and out, is a big deal. So it just goes to show that habits, knowing your boundaries, because if you say yes to everything, something in your life is going to suffer. But also, if you say no to the work, you're also going to suffer. So finding like a bit of harmony in those decisions. But if you are considering a journey or, a career shift into real estate, it's very unconventional. Like, many of us got our starts being an office admin, a personal assistant, a virtual assistant. And Much like Leslie, is that your name? Carpe Diem with Leslie. Um, she says that she became a new realtor and somehow is already, doing work for her mentor. It's that simple. Okay, guys? Like if you want to start a journey, a career in real estate, it's very unconventional. You just have to make your way into this space and get to work. Make a list of all of your like top 5, top 10 skills that you can offer. Bundle that up and sell it. Market yourself as a VA. You don't have to call yourself a transaction coordinator because there's levels to this, guys, okay? um, but if you're just trying to make your way into real estate at first, what are you good at? What I like to do is read job descriptions. Okay, let me read this job description. Do I know how to do all these things? Okay, great. I'm qualified. Now I can apply. But if there's something in that job description that I'm not good at, let me do some research on that specific. Let me do some research on that specific program or software, whatever is listed in that job description that I'm not aware of. So I can not only be prepared for this potential interview, but I can also coach you guys through, okay, are you aware of this? Are you familiar with this? So that's how I learn. There isn't like one big handbook for all of us to learn real estate or to learn transaction coordination. I mean, I'm doing my best to give you guys as much information. I just found my old workbooks that I had created last year. And I think timing is everything because I tried to sell them last year thinking that it was going to be like my ticket out the hood, my ticket out the hood. And it didn't hit. And I gave up after 1 month of trying. Come on now. That's no good. You got to give it time. And I'm working on my patience. But I found them today and I shared them with someone I had a discovery call with, and they were just so grateful. And I realized maybe not everything is meant to be sold. You know, the game is to be told, not sold. I know it's the other way around. The game is to be sold, not told, but maybe in my case it's meant to be told and not sold. But um and a great way to also get started in real estate is who do you know in real estate and how can you get in contact with them and see how you can offer them some of your time and services part-time, get your feet wet. It goes a long way. It goes a long way. So as a loan signing agent for 6 years, I've been around real estate. Yeah, and I always tell people if you've worked in lending, mortgage, the loans area of real estate, you will thrive. That's my firm belief is you'll thrive in any realm of real estate because to me that's probably the harder and escrow and the lending side of things. But maybe from their perspective, they think transaction coordination is the hardest. I don't know. For those that are on TikTok, I'm about to end the live stream here, so make your way to YouTube. We're gonna chat for as long as we can go. There's no cap to these live streams. I'll stay on minimum 20 minutes, but if we go longer, come and go as you please. I'm grateful that we have people in the chat. That's so cool. I love it. If you guys aren't subscribed, make sure you hit that subscribe button. But for those that are on TikTok, um, thank you for being in here. Make your way to the Transaction Care YouTube channel, and I'll see you guys over there. Thank you, TikTok. Also, social media has been a great tool for me. I wasn't always, um, I've always loved social media. I've always loved YouTube and talking in front of a camera, editing, all of it is self-taught. You know, it, I would say it's a little bit of acting as well. And I've never taken acting. I just watch a lot of TV. I've watched a lot of TV growing up, but just knowing who I am at my core, being myself, being my authentic self. But those times where I felt shy or intimidated about going live or even doing these interviews with other TCs and real estate professionals, I would practice because I know the responsibility of doing this and having a platform like this. It's not just about me. Like I share my story as like a starting point for you guys to feel comfortable, to get to know me, but also know that you're not alone on this journey, that we all have different stories, we all have different paths that we need to either cross or be on. And if I could be a part of that journey to help catapult you even further, then I consider that a job well done every single day. Um, Excuse me, all this talking, I'm getting dehydrated. um, so excuse me. Okay. Um, let's get back to, let me see what's in the chat. So as a loan signing agent for 6 years, I've been around real estate. Yes. So as I was talking about earlier, getting into real estate is just a matter of looking up some jobs, applying, starting in maybe an admin role, starting as part-time assistant in any field of real estate, realtor, broker, um, transaction coordinator, escrow title. There's also the legal side of real estate, an attorney. If you have experience in the education field, you can be a teacher. I went to my local community college to get my real estate license, to take my courses for my real estate license. I did a mix, I did a blend. So I did online and I did in person, just because that's how I learn best. I tried online and just wasn't right for me at the time. Now I enjoy reading and I had to learn that as well. Not learn how to read, but how to learn getting comfortable and sitting with a book and being patient and not letting my anxieties or feeling anxious, wanting to be somewhere else, get the best of me. So just being disciplined in that. Um and also content, going back to the content, um I create content, one, to help me with my communication, to be more efficient when I speak to clients, as well as becoming a better communicator, getting comfortable in front of the camera. I also noticed there was a huge gap in content. There wasn't a lot of content online about this. There definitely weren't people going live as much. I know in Facebook there are a lot of transaction coordinator groups, but um I don't know. There's just something about what I'm doing I feel is just not being done. And I'm willing to take on that responsibility at this point in time to help you guys because I think it's necessary. When I was doing this 8 years ago solo, I there was like 3 people I could count online just talking about it, maybe posting videos here and there, but it wasn't anything, you know, in super detail of like how to get started. There wasn't anyone going live being, offering free discovery calls or anything like that. So that is one of my goals, and that I feel like I've accomplished that goal so far and just am gonna continue to evolve in this space and be available for you guys. But if you guys have any questions, this is definitely your time to drop them in the comments. Um, but I do also wanna talk about, so we talked a lot about habits, um, responsibilities, and boundaries. So let's touch on those 2 things next, because that's what I have on my talking points list. But responsibilities as a transaction coordinator, you're a part of a team. That's how I look at it. You're a part of a team that whose goal is to get this home that was once on the market sold, and once it's in contract, it's everyone's job to make sure all of the disclosures, all of the, you know, I's are dotted and T's are crossed. Everything is signed and dated, initialed where they need to be. Everyone that's gonna be on the title is signing. Everyone that was on title when they sold the home is available and signing, knowing exactly what your role is as a transaction coordinator and staying, within that realm, because there are a lot of realtors that take advantage of their transaction coordinators in terms of responsibility. Some realtors just disappear and the TC has to come in and clean up the work. But I don't look at it that way as like, "Oh, I need to come and save the day." That's why the brokers are there. I feel like brokers, it's their file anyway. The realtor just works for the broker as an independent contractor. And it's optional to hire someone like myself to help facilitate the paperwork, timelines, just overseeing the file, not necessarily meeting with clients, writing contracts, making sure that our clients are happy and that someone's at the open house. Like, those are not my responsibilities. But if you notice you're working with a realtor that's letting these things fall through the cracks and their client is thinking you're the main point of contact, then something's wrong there. Something is wrong there. And that's where the boundaries have to come into play, right? But also understanding you can fire them. But I learned a lot of this information in the onboarding process. So in the very beginning, if I'm interviewing a realtor and they're interviewing me, just keep in mind this is a two-way street. You're not just talking to people, um, they're not just talking to you and interviewing you. It's okay to ask them questions like, "Well, what do you have in your pipeline? What do you anticipate closing this year? Like, what are your goals?" And if they can't answer those questions, if everything's kind of up in the sky and flimsy, maybe those are some signs to not work with them, or ask them like, "Are you working with a coach? Do you have a mentor?" Because I think that goes a long way. I've worked with a lot of new realtors, a lot of, just seasoned veterans. Now I do my best to just work with top producing realtors. And that was just through time and repetition and working with a bunch of people before I found the core group of people that I want to work with. And I even narrowed it down to just one city. I do not like doing transactions outside of San Francisco. And they're actually easier to do outside of San Francisco. I think any transaction outside of San Francisco is way easier, but because I just know it so well, I know the HOAs, I know the reports and the compliances. I just found that to be my zone of genius. And for those that are just getting started, you're probably going to have to do all sorts of transactions before you discover what it is you actually like. And that's okay. That's normal. But in the beginning, I say start small. Just pick one county that you want to service and just reach out to people in that county versus trying to try to cover rather than trying to cover the entire state of California or Florida, Texas, wherever you're located. Also, where is everyone checking in from? Let me know where you guys are checking in from, what city, what state, country, because we're international on this side of town, okay? I spoke to someone from Nigeria. Today I spoke to someone in Kuwait. I've spoken to a bunch of people in the Philippines. Um, I did an interview with the TC a couple years ago who does transactions in the DR, and I want to bring her back, but I know she's expanded even more. So it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. We got Jersey in the house, Rock Hill, New York in the house, Denver, Colorado in the house. Okay, we're all over the place. Hey, but you guys are neighbors. Leslie and Rosie, you guys are pretty close to each other. I always forget New Jersey is it right? It's a state. So anytime I hear New Jersey, I just assume like it's just like a small town in New York. I don't know why my brain does that, but it just does. But Jersey is huge. Oh, we got Missouri in the house. Cool. I love it. I love it. So our um yeah, state is okay, yeah. So Jersey is right below New York. I was watching a vlog the other day with these people that lived in Jersey. And because she lives so close to New York, it was like a 20-minute drive for her. I don't know why my brain just assumed all of New Jersey was super close to like Manhattan and everything. And I've been to New York so many times. You would think I'd understand geographics by now. Okay. Excuse me. I'm opening something. So for those that are in here, are you all currently working in real estate, or are you trying to get into real estate? this way I can gauge like where everyone is at and I can properly relay more information to you guys. Also, if you're not a part of my community, let me post that in the chat. I have a community that's it's free to join, but there is a paywall for members that want to join the group coaching, which we meet once a month, or if you want to pay for subscription-based coaching once a month, it's available there as well. So just FYI for anyone curious about how to work with me one-on-one or in a group setting. All right, so what do we have here? I'm doing it part-time. I own my notary business, trying to get into real estate. Okay. All right, great. Okay, so how can I help you guys right now level up? Excuse me, I just ate a big lunch. Oh my God, that was crazy. How can I help you guys improve your current situation right now? Or are you just here to support and chat? Um, what are your goals and what do you want to accomplish in the next, let's just say 60 days? Um, and how can how can I help you guys do that right now? And I think it's amazing that you guys are doing your thing. Keep at it. Just continue to remember what drove you to get to this point. And if you want to, to continue to seek new heights in whatever it is you're pursuing, just know it is going to take new habits, adjustments. Change is uncomfortable. You're going to be stretched. You're going to be challenged. And failure is feedback. It is not your identity and it is not your self-worth. But no, that's amazing that you're a notary. I've spoken to a lot of notaries as well, and I'm just like, I think burnout gets the best of them, but when they realize like, oh, they just needed to tweak a couple of things, they go back and they're back at it. Um, let's see, my life is getting in the way of my business. Rosie, you're in the group coaching. Let me know what time works for you. If you're the only one that ends up in the meetings in the beginning, lucky you, one-on-one coaching, okay? So let me know what works and we're going to make sure we make some adjustments because life will take over and get in the way if you allow it. I understand certain things you can't control, but not everything is an emergency. I'll tell you that much. Not everything is an emergency. Even when I had my dental emergency last week, the next day I was back to business. Anything I had to do on camera, I wore a mask because I just didn't want to I didn't want to make this an excuse because if I wasn't able to handle that, how am I going to handle more responsibility when my business elevates, when my business increases, when more people come into this live stream? Am I just going to use that as an excuse and abandon you guys? No. If I had to show up with the mask today, I would have done it because I just was tired of making excuses for myself. And that's exactly how life gets the best of us when we don't set those boundaries. You guys are right on point with these transitions from my talking points. So boundaries are key. So far we've talked about habits, responsibilities. I mean, I'll get more into responsibilities, but having boundaries is important. Knowing, how is your life set up? Do you work remote? Do you work in-house? Are you a hybrid? And what is your ideal situation? And why hasn't it occurred? Is it something in your control, out of your control? Do you work 9 to 5, but find yourself answering text messages and phone calls after hours? If so, maybe just change your hours. So there is no resentment built up because you have to work after hours, because you're choosing to respond to emails and text messages. You can say maybe, you're a hybrid of hours. Talk to your realtors, your clients directly and let them know, hey, this is my life. This is what I have going on. Basically take it or leave it. And then be mindful of yourself too. Like most women, we have a cycle once a month. I know for me, I turn into a raging jerk, a raging bee. And I get very fatigued, tired, so my energy and just my life choices are at risk during that week. So I do my best to not schedule a heavy load for myself during that week, or at least the few days leading up to that week. And then those first couple of days, I'm chilling in the house. I don't schedule any meetings or travel if I can help it. So boundaries starts with what's going on in your life, right? Am I saying yes too much, no too much, or not enough? Am I allowing life and other people's life determine how I show up for myself? So, are boundaries an area in your life that you feel like you need to improve? This is for everyone, not just, you know, one isolated person. Um, you're welcome, Leslie. Schedule a discovery call with me if we haven't already spoken. Forgive me, but schedule a discovery call with me. Visit my website, transactioncare.com, and there's a button to schedule a call with me. But I'll be back on live every Tuesday, but I'm introducing a morning and nighttime live. It's not going to be as structured as this one. It's just going to be just for me to be available to anyone in the morning and night who aren't able to make it during the day during this one. But yeah, for anyone in here, if you haven't already, my calendar, I update it every month, and you can schedule a free discovery call with me where we can discuss these types of topics and get you better prepared for whatever stage in your business that you're trying to accomplish, because it's very easy to mismanage your life if you lack structure, if you lack the discipline, if you lack the repetition, if you give up prematurely. Because like I said, emotions, motivation, like that's all fleeting because they're tied to our feelings and our emotions. But if you build the habits and you know your why is strong enough to keep you disciplined in those tasks and those responsibilities, setting boundaries will be a lot easier to do because you're not going to waver on what your mission is, what your values are, and why you're doing this in the first place. But also communication goes a long way. Leslie, have a good night. Take care. Thank you for watching and being in here. And for anyone else that has to go, it's all good. I'm going to stay on here as long as I need to. I usually carve out about 2 hours for this live stream, 20 minutes if no one's in here. And I just stick to my talking points and do a mini presentation, and then I'll repost it as a vlog. So if you guys also have questions about, if you guys have questions about social media and how I utilize that in my business, I'll be glad to discuss topics like that. You can also definitely expect vlogs from me, doing more, having more conversations about this stuff and social media, how I've leveraged it in my business. Believe it or not, my very first client was from a Craigslist ad. Yeah. I don't even remember posting that Craigslist ad. Like, if I really, really think about it, I was probably at my 9 to 5. And I remember we used to post Craigslist ads for listings on there. This is how long ago it was. This was like a decade ago. But I think I felt risky one day and was like, I'm going to create an account advertising myself as a TC. If my memory serves me correctly, I'm pretty sure that's what happened, because I was going through my old emails the other day and I looked and it was from 2016. I didn't quit my job until 2018. So I was breaking all types of rules. Forgive me. But yes, excuse me. I'm so thirsty. And my very first client, independent client, was from a Craigslist ad. So you just have to leverage the internet in your favor before you just, excuse me, before you just take a deep dive. Test the market, see what's available, see who's looking for work. But nowadays, there's, make sure your LinkedIn is updated. Make sure. make sure my drink is about to explode. Do you guys ever make those like mixy fuzzy drinks? Um, I don't know. This is what I drink. Zip Fizz. It's like good for B12, energy, zero sugar, electrolytes, multivitamin. Um, but I left too much water in here. What days are the group coaching? So I just launched group coaching. I've been doing one-on-one coaching as well as these live streams for a while now, but I just introduced group coaching. So we're in the process of picking that date, and it'll be 30 minutes once a week. It's $25 a month behind a paywall. If you go to the link I posted in the chat, you can see there, but we will meet for 30 minutes. And if you've been following me, you can see I can chat. And if one of you is in there for now until we continue to grow out the group, then lucky you. You can get one-on-one coaching. But I think I know I wanted to introduce group coaching because, and it's not going to be on live. It's not going to be public. It's going to be just us, 2 or 3 of us for now until it continues to grow and expand. Um, for now, we're just going to meet once a month for 30 minutes. But if you know me, you know that 30 minute, those 30 minutes can easily turn into an hour. So make sure you time block with a buffer if you do decide to join. And then we'll have like an intimate group call on Zoom, and you guys can have a copy of the replay. It will not be public. It will only be available to that specific tier membership. I also have a one-on-one coaching option where we meet once a month for 90 minutes, but we're one-on-one over Zoom. And I just officially launched those. I've been doing the 90-minute strategy calls, but now I wanted to introduce a more consistent offering. So um, it's actually less than the 90-minute session. So you get the same amount of time, but once a month, basically on subscription. And it is a heftier price, $75 a month, but to me, it's worth it to check in with someone that's in this space, that's in this industry, where a lot of coaching offerings right now are in the thousands, $400 here and there. Um, but if you are looking for something more long term, where that includes training and coaching and mentoring combined, um, on a more frequent basis, I'm more than glad to customize something for you guys because I want to work with your time, your budget, but also stay true to what I can offer you guys as well. Especially for those that are in California. I know the California market and I know the flow of a transaction in California. So relaying that information is a lot easier for me. Um, One of my favorite coaching offerings that is included in that 90-minute session is the file shadowing. So basically, I've been working with someone one-on-one for almost a year now, testing it out. And at first we were meeting weekly. We were meeting weekly, and she was still working her 9 to 5 and doing files before and after work. And then I would meet with her once a week, every Wednesday, and we'd be on Zoom, we'd share screens, and she would share her screen, and I'd watch her work. I would help correct her, and any areas where she felt nervous, I could tell, and I'd say, "Why aren't you doing that? Like, why haven't you fixed that yet?" And she'd always be like, "Oh, I'll do it later. I'll do it later." So we overcame a lot of the shame and the embarrassment or just the fears when it comes to managing transactions alone when you've never done it before. So these are services that I've been testing for a couple of years now, and I'm finally ready to introduce publicly. So I hope you guys take advantage of these while they're there. Again, I my goal was to make these as affordable as possible because I do get a lot of people that are stay-at-home moms, unemployed, in between jobs or just making enough money. But I'll tell you this much, when I invested, whether it was $10, $25, $75, I even was spending at one point, not anymore. Those were the days. At one point, I was paying $1,000 a month for coaching, and it worked. Money well spent. And we worked together we would meet weekly, and We met for 2 years. That was the most money I ever spent on myself, outside of a car, outside of purchasing a car, but I was so young and dumb, that car eventually got repossessed. So, let me close this door. My neighbor downstairs owns a dog watching business, so at certain times of the day, it's 5 o'clock, all of the dog moms and dads come pick them up. So they all get excited and riled up. But yeah, so this is the beginning stages of launching group coaching, introducing subscription-based coaching. I feel like accountability is important. And when I did invest in myself financially, I was more likely to follow through. Whereas I think my free discovery calls, these free live streams are great. My free content is available, but you're less likely to move forward in your decisions and your goals. You're less likely to overcome those fears or those barriers because it doesn't feel real because you didn't spend money on it. And maybe does anyone else think like that? It's like when you spend money on something, it becomes more serious, and I feel more inclined to follow through. And then when you spend something like over $50, it's like it sometimes feels like you just spent $1,000,000. But I will say the best program I ever took, I wish it was still available because I would recommend it to you guys, but her name is Nicole Walters, and she used to do these, they were called 10K a day challenges, but she also started this, coaching program, and it was $1,200. And to me, that this is before I was paying $1,000 for coaching. I was like, "That is too much money. I've never spent $1,200 on anything, not even my laptop. Everything I got on sale," you know? And one of my good friends DM'd me one day. She was like, "You should do this." She's like, "I just finished the first cohort. You should do the next one." And I was like, "I don't know." She's like, "No, it's worth it." And this is before I got back into debt. Another conversation we can talk about. Um, but I invested $1,200 in her course, and she was there in real time. Some of it was, you do independently and you had to complete the modules before you move on. But it was when I invested that money, my hard-earned money into myself, where those shifts started to occur. And I realized, dang, like you really do have to pay the cost to be the boss. I believe in investing in myself. That is an investment, not to mention a tax write-off. That part. I had to remind myself. I had to remind myself constantly because I didn't have any credit cards back then. I was not in debt. I got back into debt because of my dental procedures that I've had to have over the course of the past 4 years. And then getting credit cards again, having to survive, um, during a period of grief in my life where I just was, like, struggling to get anything done. So when I was investing in my money in, like, coaching and programs, like, that was my hard-earned cash. So to see my bank account deplete, and then eventually it got down to 0 in at the end of 2024. I'm not afraid to admit that either. It's just been a part of my journey, because in 2024, I was I turned 40. I was at a pivotal stage in my life where I was just like, "New decade, new me." I don't really wanna be a transaction coordinator I don't wanna be a transaction coordinator anymore. I've been doing this for 20 years at that point. At some point, I have to just give in to my dreams. I have to just continue to take that leap. The same leap I took when I quit my job. I quit my job not to be a TC. TC followed me. Real estate followed me. I call it my boomerang. I don't know if you guys could see it. Let me see. I have a boomerang behind me. Right there. Wait, right there. You see it? Wait, right there is a boomerang. But I call real estate my boomerang, because every time I try to throw it away, it keeps coming back and knocking me in the head, figuratively. And yeah, I was so over transaction coordination. And at that point, I had taken a life coaching course um, to become a life coach, because I really was convinced that was the route I was going to take at that time. Little did I know, it still took time and preparation and practice. I wanted to be a life coach 10 yesterdays ago, okay? But because I had to work on myself and still do a lot of internal work and changing of habits and all those things, it wasn't until 2025 that I took the coaching very seriously. And then 2026, I said, this is the year I take content more than seriously. And now I can infuse everything I was trying to do 3 years ago, being a coach, being a content creator, being a transaction coordinator. With our powers combined, we are Captain Planet. Let me know if you guys got that reference. And that's what led me here. Legit, like right here with you guys here online. I've been rebuilding myself for the past 2 years in a way that was different. And I think that's why a lot of my TC stuff I let go of. I let go of it because I had to learn how to shed those layers on my own. My freedom was underneath all of those layers. My freedom wasn't in coaching people. My freedom wasn't in posting on YouTube. My freedom was letting go and shedding those old layers of myself that I no longer could hold on to or needed. And it was a lot of tears, a lot of joy, um, a lot more days where I was just like, I don't know if I'm making the right decision. A lot of days where I was looking at job descriptions and job openings and having to be disciplined and like, no, don't. It's a backwards move. It's a backwards move. We want to go forward. Even if we have to like cut a few bills for now and like call up your creditors and make those awkward phone calls and talk to them about negotiating deals and stuff like that. Even if your credit has to suffer for a little bit, because I was on a different track. And I still am. I still am on a different track. So when I have medical emergencies like I did last week, it's just a not so subtle reminder, like, stay on track. Do not lose focus. Don't get too comfortable. Because the moment I have a little bit of success, I'm just like, all right, I could chill. No, that's just the beginning. It's just the beginning. All right. I believe in tax write-off. When you have skin in the game, you do it. Yeah. Repetition is key. Repetition, repetition, repetition. It's the only way I was able to build courage. My coach gifted this to me after us meeting for 2 years, because she realized I didn't have the courage when we first got started. I thought hiring a coach was going to mean they basically kind of like helped me with my work. I had no idea what a coach was supposed to be or do. I didn't realize that they were just kind of like a guiding force to get my thoughts, my ideas out of me and flesh it out into a structured plan, or being able to admit certain things. Like, it's not quite therapy, but it did feel very therapeutic. And I'm just so grateful that I did that, because it birthed all of these projects. Something I've been wanting to do for so long is be someone that live streams more often than not. Because one, it's less editing for me. By going live, I can just be here, talk to you guys in real time. We can bounce from different topics. Yes, I have my talking points, which we've pretty much covered. Today I wanted to give you guys a quick story time at what happened last week. I wanted to talk about transaction coordinator habits, responsibilities, boundaries, and how to pivot through adversity. We've definitely covered all of that. So I feel like this was a very successful live stream for me. And I'm still here. I'm not logging off. If you guys enjoy me talking, I'll keep talking. But I also want to be, just answer whatever questions you have. That there's no such thing as a dumb question or an outlandish question. Um, and I also don't claim to be a guru or a know-it-all. I'm still learning, growing with you guys. That's why I say that in all of my videos. We're learning and growing together. like a flower, like a lily. And I say lily like the flower because a lot of people, when I would go outside and introduce myself, they'd be like, Billy? Dilly? It was weird. And I was speaking up, like, I don't know how they did not hear Lily. So I started saying lily like the flower. And it just stuck. I actually stopped saying it in my videos. And one of my friends in the real estate industry, I want to bring her back on the show too. She said, how come you don't say lily like the flower anymore? And I was like, oh, I didn't think anyone noticed. So brought it back. And now it's just second nature. I don't even think about it when I say it. But what is coming up for, here on Transaction Care? Every Monday, a new video. Every Tuesday, we go live. Wednesdays, I leave that open for coaching sessions. Like when we do our group coaching or one-on-one coaching. I also do discovery calls Mondays and Tuesdays, but if those days don't work for you, just message me and we can go from there. Thursdays, I'm introducing a morning live stream and a nighttime live stream. And then Friday, Saturday, Sunday, you're free to do whatever you want, catch up on old content of mine, gather your questions for the next live stream, put in the work on your end to do what you got to do. Okay. Do you work with active agents or only agents that no longer want to sell properties? As a TC, I work with residential realtors. So realtors that focus more on residential properties. As a coach, I work with pretty much everyone, but my focus is people wanting to get into real estate, people in a career transition right now that are going through it. Just the other day, I helped someone realize that it wasn't real estate. In fact, she might still try it, but she realized it was something totally different. And we found a way to encourage her to, well, meaning her and I, but I got it out of her to admit that that's what she actually wanted to do. And I encouraged her and I told her, I was like, if you need coaching in that, it's available. But in terms of being a transaction coordinator, I'm a TC in California in the Bay Area. So I currently only work with top producers. But no longer want to sell properties. What do you mean by that? All right. And then this hit home for me after 32 years in telecom. This transition isn't easy. I need a mentor or coach. I've done loan signing and I'm signing up for the group now. Oh, yay. Let's do this. Let's do this. I'm pumped because the group coaching is going to be a better way for me to relay more of the training materials. I put together, like I said, I just found my workbooks that I made. Was it like last year or the year before? They're old, is all I'm saying is. And I thought those workbooks were going to be like my ticket out of here. They were not. But fast forward, like I said, timing is everything. We're going to go through those workbooks together. We're going to go through just where you're at in your journeys collectively. And we're going to encourage each other, whether you speak up or not. I just want people to be in the room, present, so you can know that you're not alone. Because that's one thing I do. I don't want to say I regret. It's something I wish I had more of 6, 8, 10 years ago, was a community like this or a live stream that I can attend with a transaction coordinator that's doing it by themselves. Someone I knew that worked in real estate, but also did content, and you want to do both businesses. Oh, I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying. Do you work with agents? Okay. Yes, I do get a lot of clients that started as a realtor and then they're like, I don't want to do this anymore. I want to be a TC because they realized it's hard work because as a realtor, you're on 24/7. But you really do control your input and your output. So if your goals are to be a top producer and to close 5 deals a month, yeah, of course you're naturally going to be working around the clock, but you're going to have to hire a staff. You're going to need to treat it like a corporate business. But if your goal is to close one deal a quarter and you can survive off that, you will not be sleeping. I mean, I'm sorry, you will be sleeping. You will be able to treat it like almost like a 9 to 5. And on occasion, you'll have those clients that will, need your attention at different hours of the day, depending on where they live. Like the realtors that I work with, they have clients all over the world. So sometimes they're telling me, can you send these specific disclosures early in the morning because they're 24 hours ahead, or they're 16 hours ahead of us, or don't send any emails after 5 o'clock to these people. So it's all about communication. Um, I've never been a realtor in my life. I've never tried it outside of like helping people with open houses, knowing how to read a contract, but I don't really do any of that, the realtor job stuff. I'm not a big fan of that on-call business structure, but even just hearing myself say what I just said, I realized like I guess it's not as bad as it's like what is the story I'm telling myself that's forcing me to look at this negatively? And if I wanted to be a realtor and a TC, I could do that. I could do it. I could make it happen. I would just have to look up like what is the financial investment? How much effort am I willing to invest? And do I have the capacity to show up to do both? Because obviously I would save money if I'm TCing my own files. But if now my main objective is to be a realtor and be out in the field, you know, prospecting, looking at homes, I may not have time to look at the paperwork as in depth as I once could have as a full-time TC. Um, Yasina, Yasina, did I say that right? I was just about to ask you, what exactly do you want to do both of? And you said, I'd love to have a TC team and still run my realtor business. Well, shout out to you for wanting that because that's absolutely possible. You absolutely can do that right now. You just have to interview a bunch of TCs, sacrifice some time to build your TC team. Start with 2 people. That's a team. Um, and then go from there. You don't have to build a team of 100 people to be successful. You define what success is for you. That's homework for everyone. I don't usually give homework, but I want everyone to write down what is your definition of success because everyone's is different. So if Yasina, forgive me if I'm mispronouncing your name, but if Yasina wants to create a TC team and be a realtor, that's 100% possible. What I would do in your situation is I would start with possibly hiring one TC that you work with exclusively and then have her train a VA, not another TC just yet, because the VA can help you as a realtor and the TC until you gain more clientele, more closings, more deals. And then boom, you have a mini agency. You have an agency. I don't even want to call it mini. But if you, the realtor, have an assistant that helps you and the TC simultaneously, I kind of like feel like you would double your business. I'm putting my hands on my head because I'm just like, where are you located? Do you need a TC? Are you in San Francisco? Because like right now, if I TC for anyone else, I only want to work with them in San Francisco. I don't want to work with any realtors outside of San Francisco. Those are my boundaries. But I worked to earn that, you know? But if push came to shove, I would take on clients anywhere. And push has come to shove many a times in the past couple of years, okay? um, Also, another option for those that are wanting to get into real estate, you can offer vacation coverage services. So next month in September, I'm actually covering for another TC while she travels for an entire week. Granted, I do have a lot of experience, so that's not something I'm scared of doing or intimidated by. There are days I want to cancel and say, forget it, I don't want to do it. But financially, I had to say yes in that situation. But there are reasons, I mean, there are other ways that you can add different, um, like, à la carte items to your business. You don't necessarily have to just be a full-time TC. If you learn the market well enough and you get enough repetition, you could be the TC cover person to where you're not responsible for any files other than what you're covering for that week. And then you walk away clean, detach onto the next person that goes on vacation or is sick or has a dental emergency like myself last week. You see what I'm saying? But Yasina, what did you think about that idea of like hire a TC? You could be the other TC, but then also the realtor, focus on the realty stuff, let the TC do their thing, but also hire a VA to work between you two. Something to consider. That's just one idea. Build off of that. Build off of that idea. Because if I could change any one thing in my business early on, if I really wanted to, I'm blessed. I'm grateful for how it all turned out, ups and downs, the highs and lows. But if I could change one thing when I first got started doing this independently, because for 15 years I was working at a real estate office. It's so much different when you're doing it independently. I didn't really have a business mindset. I didn't really have a business acumen. I just was doing the TC work, but I didn't know how to run it as a business. So when I hit 90 transactions in a month that I was balancing on my own, I thought that was what everyone was doing. Then I spoke to the office manager at the time and she's like, "That's not normal." She's like, "Do you have an assistant? Do you have a team?" And I was like, "No." She was like, "Well, no wonder you're losing sleep and no wonder you have to let go of some clients." I was managing like 10 teams. It was a lot. It was too much. I burnt out. So if I could have changed any one thing back then, I would have hired either a VA or another TC to partner up with so we can split 90 transactions amongst each other. Because it was 90 and growing. Looking back, sometimes I'm just like, I would have been retired by now if I stayed like that. But I was so burnt out. I was also grieving my grandma. My grandma was the reason I quit my job, my family. There was just a couple of family emergencies and sicknesses that I was just like, I just want to be home like that. When I talked about freedom earlier, I just want to be free to like go to doctor's appointments and help them and make lunch and, walk her up and down the stairs. Like, I don't want her to have to like rely on, I don't want another family member to sacrifice their whole job if I can be present. So that's why I quit my job. And like I said, TCing and real estate just followed me. Yeah, 90. It was too much. It was too much for one person. I mean, at the time I was closing, let me see, let me do some math real quick. I was probably closing like anywhere from like 20 to 30 transactions. I was closing 20 to 30 a month for almost a year. Um, but it became too much and I didn't know how to handle it. So I let go of all of it and I kept one team. So now I handle about anywhere from 5 to 20 a month. And some are just sitting on the market. Not all of them are active, not all of them are pending. But the difference between scaling and maintaining are two different concepts. Because I can scale at any given moment. I trust that if I really put, buy some ad space, contact some realtors, contact my network, I can get back to 90, maybe in like 6 months. But I would never do that again alone. No way. I also was doing everything by hand and by quote unquote paper. I was printing out my checklist. I didn't know that TC management platforms even existed to help me manage my systems and have system. I had no systems. And every agent worked differently. Every agent had different expectations. I was missing emails. It was a mess. Like my inbox never said zero. It was too much. It was too much for me to handle. But I think if I were to redo it now, I could I think I could easily handle on my own. In terms of pendings, maybe 30 without help. Without help. And I'm working like 9 to 5 the whole time. But I don't want that. So I'm sacrificing a lot of money for my own sanity, to be honest. But if I learned how to hire someone, I can absolutely see myself maintaining around 60 if I had help. Healthily, in a healthy way. Um, exactly how I am feeling right now. I just want to be home. I feel that. And, maybe it's, not everyone is going to be able to just be home all the time. And even when you are home and you're working a business, I still found myself feeling like I was still at work. So the mindset of like working from home is great, but but it is different. I get it. Just knowing like whoever you're with, your kids or your family, is just right there. There's that level of comfort that I understand that is so important to have, and I want that for everyone. Um, but if you're a notary, True Seal Notary, what is your name? If you don't mind me asking, you don't have to share. Everyone you've worked with in notary, how many of them work in real estate? Can you network and reach out to them and ask them if you can do some online work at home for them? So you can gradually start side hustling, doing work on the side at home. It might be a grind at first, but building out your network. That's just you know, a basic idea of how you can flip the switch from being on the road, being a notary, going into offices, to now leveraging the network that you've built. All of your contacts, all of the people you visited or said hello to, buy them a coffee, schedule lunch with them, buy them lunch, do something to like, hey, realtor, this is my situation. I need out. Can I help you? This is how much I need to make. I'm willing to take a pay cut if I need to. Don't ever lead with an I'll take a pay cut, but I'm just letting you know, like in your mind, have the lowest number you're willing to make, the in between, and what is the highest you want to like achieve. What's your go-to TC management platform? TC Docs. I was using TC Docs. Because I'm not managing as many files as I used to. I no longer pay for it. When I was doing a lot more volume a couple years ago, it was great. It's a little old school. It's a little outdated, but it worked the best for me. And it was worth paying $60 a month when I was doing that many transactions. But now that I don't have that many, um, I don't really need it. I don't really need it. But TC Docs was great. I'm constantly trying to collaborate with them. I'm constantly trying to have them sponsor my videos or something because I've recommended so many people to them, which is fine. But at a certain point, it's like, come on. But hey, rejection is protection. But I don't mind sharing because I don't want to gatekeep anything. I use TC Docs. There's A-Frame. What is the other one? Contract to Close. There's a lot of AI programs now. I haven't tried any of the AI programs, but I just feel like eventually everything is going to be powered with AI. So I'll just wait until that one program surfaces and we go from there. Yeah, Rosie uses Teamwork. So there's others like some brokerages, they use SkySlope or Dotloop. But those aren't really TC friendly. Those are they just serve to me as like a digital filing cabinet. They don't really help you with like your agenda or your calendar or your checklist to keep track of like what signatures are missing, who needs to sign or initial this, or what paperwork is missing. So that's why I use TC Docs, because that program is built to keep track of what's missing and what's outstanding or what's pending. Whew. Talking all this. But this is great. I love it. I love it here. You guys have any more questions? Also, when it comes to wanting freedom, right? What is your freedom number? Like, how much do you need to make a month? If you were to look at all your expenses right now, all of the extra things you're spending money on, can you cut back anywhere temporarily for 3 to 6 months so you can free up some of your money to not feel so much pressure, or maybe to build a little nest egg, a little emergency fund? When I quit my job, I had a oops. When I quit my job, I had saved, how much did I save? I saved like $8,000, and that was comfortable enough for me to quit my job and not work for the summer. I quit my job in March. I put my 3 months in. Most people put in 2 weeks. I put in 3 months, and I told them that I will work until March, but of course, the front desk person decided to take a vacation in March, and they were begging me to stay another month, and also my annual was, um, resetting in March, so I did some math and I was like, "Okay, that's another 2 weeks of pay, an automatic raise, vacation, bonuses." So that's extra money. That's another, like, I think that was, like, another $3,000 that I could just pocket, and it was a W-2, so it was already taxed, and I said, "Okay, I'll do it. I'll stay another 2 more weeks." So I ended up staying another 3 weeks, 3 months at my prior job. In that year, remember when I was telling you guys I had changed my habits, I stopped going out, I managed to save around 8 6 or $8,000, somewhere in that range, I don't remember, but that was the most money I'd ever saved in my entire life, and I was in my early 30s back then. So I was like 32, 33. I had just gone through getting my car repossessed. Um, I had closed 2 credit card accounts, and from 30, early 30 to 40, I was debt free. Everything was cash. I had no credit cards, nothing. And I had finally built myself up, or like during the pandemic, to afford, like possibly afford like a little condo. And then the pandemic hit and work slowed down, and those 90 transactions that I had turned away, I was desperately wishing I still had him at the time. And money was, slowing up. I had to get on unemployment during the pandemic because nothing, like, real estate was on pause. I enjoyed it. I'm not gonna hold you. It was a nice few months while it lasted, and I had to get off unemployment, rebuild my business. Then I realized I'm so burnt out. I never stopped to actually grieve my grandma, or I never actually got to stop and grieve even my own identity. After I quit my job, I went straight, my business was I was doing files for my business and that office and covering for someone. So I never took a break. I never took a vacation to reset, to recharge. Nah, that Friday was my last day. Monday, I was in business. So you can imagine 2, 3 years of going hard at this, losing your grandma. I was very close to my grandma, so it was something that was intense, and then fast forward, my other grandma passes away in 2022. Then I go through my whole dental emergency. My root canal gave out. I now have to get my front teeth replaced. By 2023, I had a breakdown. Thankfully, it wasn't like, I need to check myself in type of breakdown, but I remember I was rearranging this office to make this into an office. This is a small room in my place, and I was home alone, and I was just sitting in a chair that I'd moved into the hallway, just taking a break, and out of nowhere, I just burst into tears, and I couldn't control it because I had been holding in all of this grief, all of these changes in my life that I just never stopped. I never stopped. I went from working a job for 15 years, my whole adult life, then quitting that job because they didn't wanna accommodate my needs. Then I'm also grieving the fact that people in my family are going through it medically. Um, I was going through friendship breakups. There was just like so much happening. I was sober. I was like, I'm done partying, so I don't need to drink anymore. I'm not hanging out with those people that I used to drink with anyway. What's the point? So that's how I saved a lot of my money. And that helped, that helped me to look at life and my experiences and what I do with my money a lot differently. Because I also love to travel and I love spending my money on like events, concerts. So it became a lot easier going back to the conversation of boundaries. It became a lot easier to say no to every single social event. And eventually I flipped those boundaries into my actual business. I started to apply them into my business. Okay, it's great to have the money and all, but at what expense? Because now what? Now what? It's just me and all of these heavy emotions I haven't dealt with for the past 5 years spilling out of me, literally in tears, just uncontrollable. But I'm grateful it did happen because I needed to, because if who knows where those emotions would have expelled out of me in a different setting. And I'm sure it showed up. I'm sure those emotions showed up in other areas of my life as well, but I needed to have that breakdown so I could have my breakthrough. And I did, because 2023, I became a life coach. I was still, I was, that was around the time I hired a coach. And I was, all the money that I had saved and made up until that point, I was reinvesting back into myself. I basically was like, I will go broke if that's what it takes to fix me. I hired a therapist. I was in therapy for a little bit. Eventually I started working out again, losing weight. Fast forward, I realized I don't really want to be a TC as much or anymore. So let me start really investing more time into coaching, into content. And financially, it's paying off little by little, but because I've only been at this for 8 months consistently on content and then coaching, I would say for a good year and a half, it's so early. I know I'm on track. So I want that for you guys as well. And hopefully your path is gonna be a lot more accelerated than mine, because I know I tend to delay myself out of fear, doubt, insecurities, money. I let the narratives that I tell myself, I start to believe them a little bit too much, and then I stop, I hesitate. I'm not that ambitious person that I once was, because I insert all these stories and these narratives that aren't necessarily even true. I just convince myself that, "Nope, that's too difficult. Let's go take the easy route." Instead of enduring having 1 or 2 people in the group coaching platform, like, instead of being okay with that, I would just run away. But now I'm facing those fears of, like, going live every week with no one in here for weeks. And then finally, shout out to Rosie. She's one of the first people in here every single week after that. And then 2 people, 3 people, okay? So, I'm doing this to show you guys just not just my progress, but also the time it takes, the investment and the patience that these changes in your life are going to require. Um, because so many times in my life, I gave up in those first 3 weeks, those first 3 months, because I was too afraid to continue enduring the winter, the cold of it all. I wasn't willing to wait for the seasons to change. But yeah, it's wild. And I've also noticed when I made big aggressive changes in my life, and I've only said this prayer 2 times, but both times the same people left my life. I said, "God, please remove any distractions from my life." And a friend at the time that I was very close with since high school, we had a falling out. We reconnected a couple years l or, like, we reconnected a few months later, stayed friends, and right before I turned 40. No, I was already 40. I'm sorry. I was already 40, but I was going through it. And I was like, God, please remove any distractions from my life. That same friend, her and I had another falling out, and this time for good. And I was just like, dang, like, I thought that was like something that was going to be like a friend for life. But shoot, I'm not going to challenge God. So I've just been on this race and this ride this entire time and seeing where it takes me. But thank you guys for listening and giving me the time and space to just share parts of my journey. Um, I don't talk about those things too often, not because I don't want to. I'm home alone most of the time. And when I am with family, I don't want to talk about that stuff. I don't need them all up in my business. And I'm older now. I realized the thing about friendships, for me at least in my journey, if I had stayed friends with that person or in that group, it would have really restricted me because they didn't understand when I was doing stuff like this years ago, when I was going live or when I was creating content. Like they kind of made fun of it and they discouraged me a little bit, or they just didn't understand because many of them had degrees, many of them got their masters, attorney, nurse, therapist, like, and I was the only one that was like in business. And like, I don't want to say I took any shortcuts because I didn't. Even when I wasn't in school, I was working very, very hard. And when I tried to go back to school, I was working very, very hard. When I changed and pivoted careers, I've always worked very, very hard. But it was my mind, and my insecurities that got the best of me and prevented me from getting to where I am today. So the fact that I get to do this live stream and talk to a bunch of you guys, like if we were all in one room, like at a coffee shop, it would be packed. You know what I'm saying? So this is a big deal for me. And when I think back to how I was being discouraged, or those people in my life weren't understanding what I was doing, I just had to accept like this is a part of the process. And it doesn't bother me. It does not bother me at all. It did at first. It did, like the first go round when I had the falling outs with a bunch of other friends. But what I realized now in my 40s, my early 40s, for me personally, I don't think I'm meant to have just one or two people that I invest almost all of my time with. I think I'm supposed to be connecting with people all over the world, and you guys are becoming my community. Which is why I call my community the community, because beyond friendship, it's like if I had just stayed in my little bubble and my little friend group, I would have been so caught up in trying to impress them and partying and hanging out and then being hungover all the time, wasting all my money, that I never would have been able to do this. Reach people in Texas, Jersey, New York, Kuwait, the Philippines, Nigeria, everywhere, Florida. You know what I'm saying? So for me, I'm accepting that I think I'm supposed to be someone that is basically friends and community with people all over the world. And by only keeping a small group of friends that I keep to is hurting me, not helping me. But don't get me wrong. I have a huge family. I have a very small, tiny, 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 tiny group of friends that I hold dear to. And when we do hang out, it's like all of my attention is there. But we both have this understanding of like, if we don't talk for a long periodical time, it's not the end of the world. And we've both been vulnerable with what we've been going through and just our emotional maturity journeys and stuff like that. Um, I've realized that I find joy in being able to reach people everywhere. And like I said, if transaction coordination and real estate is my vehicle to get to you all, to help you guys in whatever setting and stage in your life that you're at, then I'm on the right track. The fact that all of you are still in here right now is like blowing my mind. Um, True Seal, the whole story is relatable. Yeah, it gets real in the field, guys. It gets real in the field. Like, it's crazy. It was crazy. It was crazy. Because just the week prior with that friend, we were like, yeah, now we're heading into our golden era. We're all turning 40 at the same time. Keisha, nice to meet you, Keisha. Yeah, we're all turning 40. And then my instincts, my intuition doesn't ever lie. Like anything my intuition has ever told me, unless I suppressed it and was just like, nah, I don't want to believe that. More 9.999 times out of 10, it was true. And once I got out of that situation, it was just like this big, huge weight was lifted off of me. No joke. I started like the 15 pounds that I had been trying to lose for a decade instantly just like melted off, because I think it was just all stress and people pleasing and drinking and partying, while also trying to stay in business and squeeze in stuff like content that I know I'm passionate about instead of prioritizing it. I was prioritizing everyone else but me. So yeah, that's my story and I'm sticking to it. But let's wrap up this conversation. I don't want to hold you guys too much longer. I will be going live again on Thursday, but you guys, it's for a different time of day. Every Tuesday at 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, it's going to be more structured. It's going to be just like this. It's either going to be a quick live stream or maybe 2 hours. You never know how long it's going to go. Just carve out some time, get in where you fit in. If you want to join the community, the link is pinned in the chat. So consider either joining the group coaching program or the individual one-on-one coaching program. It's all available to you. There's also a $10 tier where I'm going to be sharing more digital products there. It'll be available to everyone in every tier, but I wanted to give people that are in the $10 tier a reason to just some extra incentive to stay accountable and also have resources to reference in this process. So stay tuned for that. Every week, new content here, whether it's a solo vlog or a clip from the live streams that I repost, and definitely an interview. So I'm really trying to grow out this channel, get my watch hours under me so I can eventually get this channel monetized. But truthfully, I'm having so much fun doing these live streams. It's been a game changer just for me, mentally and emotionally. So I'm so grateful that you guys have made it today. And if you can make it every Tuesday, that'd be amazing. No pressure. Because I also want you guys to get to work. I don't want you guys to use me as a crutch either. I love hanging out with you guys. I love chatting with you guys. Hi, Takara. What's up? Everyone follow Takara. She posts a lot about her journey with debt, student loans, consumer debt, bankruptcy. It's so cool. She's doing great. Let me find her channel so I could pin it here before I go. But subscribe to her channel. Leave a comment under her video. Let me see. 1 second, guys. Here we go. I want you guys to, if you can, go watch her latest video and comment the word community under her post. Any one of her videos. Type the word community in the comments so we know that you guys were here and supporting her. Yeah, I met Takara and I helped her. I've been helping her with her YouTube channel. And yeah, I'm loving what I'm seeing, Takara. Keep it up. Stay consistent. It takes time to build these things out. And I'm here to support you guys in whatever endeavors you decide to embark in, especially that of real estate. transaction coordination. Just to recap, today we talked about habits, responsibilities, boundaries, how to pivot through adversity, as well as just sharing, answering the Q&A, the questions in here, and giving you guys time and space to also meet each other and connect. Consider becoming a member of my Patreon community. That's the platform I use to host it on the back end. But I will go live again on Thursday. I'm going to test it out. It's not official yet, so it's not going to be structured. I'm honestly just going to turn on the live stream, and you're probably going to just watch me work. And if anyone decides to pop in and has questions, we'll do that. Usually in the mornings, it's typically like the international crowd. I've noticed. I did one live stream a couple weeks ago in the morning, and it was people from like the other side of the world, which is wild to me because I always forget that they exist. I always forget real estate is everywhere. And then the night crew, um, the night shift will be brand new. So the night live stream is going to be for those that are working late hours, or maybe you work a 9 to 5 and you manage a household, and maybe the evenings are your time to just relax or do research and stuff like that. So whichever time frame works best for you, I want to do my best to be as available and accessible to you guys as possible. But for now, Tuesdays, 4 p.m. is my main attraction. It's my go-to time that has worked the best. But for the next few weeks, I'm going to be testing another day of the week where we go live for other people that can't make this live stream in real time. So before I go, make sure you guys are subscribed. Show love to each other, follow each other, message each other. If you join the community, we can all be in one big group chat. That'd be kind of cool. And what else? What else? What else? Also, I posted a new vlog yesterday, so if you can go check that out. I just basically revisited the whole conversation about. I revisited the whole conversation about starting this whole process in 60 days and how much you can accomplish in 60 days when you lay out the plan and execute it. And it was just a reminder, a refresher that this is possible in whatever it is you choose to endeavor in, whether it is YouTube or starting a new business or just getting back on track with you. 60 days is a lot of time to just be your starting point. So give that vlog a watch if you can. Otherwise, get to work. What is the number one goal you guys want to accomplish this week? Focus on that. Break it up into small, actionable steps and go from there. You don't have to do everything all at once. One step at a time. To me, I was like, I just want to go live this week. And look at us. 2 hours in, once again. I was not expecting to do another 2-hour live stream. I love it. And I have an idea that I'm working on. I don't want to say it just yet, but it's definitely going to involve collaboration. Let's just say that. So stay tuned. It's still just an idea, but I feel like if I say a little bit of it out loud, it'll become real. Or I'll at least get some feedback of like, should I actually do it or not from God. But yeah, last call for any questions, comments. Thank you, Rosie. She says, I love collaborations. Yes. So stay tuned. I'll reach out to you guys in the group for those that have joined today. Thank you so much for watching, for being here, whether you were here all 2 hours or just made it in at the end, in the middle. It doesn't matter. Your support does not go unnoticed. I appreciate each and every one of you. Visit my website, transactioncare.com, so you can connect with me and learn more about myself, my services, as well as get in connection with me one-on-one or in a group setting. I'm going to plan out the group meeting for this month very soon. So let's all look at our calendars for those that have become members of the transformation group. That's what we're called. It's the transformation. And if you have joined the transformation group, we're going to get something on the calendar very, very soon. So it's not too late to join. In the pinned comment right there is your link to join and become a member, whether you just want a little bit of accountability, group accountability, or one-on-one accountability. It is available for me to coach you and mentor you through this process, especially this process of business, real estate, and mindset. Okay? So if you guys don't have any more questions or comments, I wish you all a wonderful week, night, evening, wherever you're at in the world. I truly appreciate you for being here, especially this long. Woo! Everyone, take a deep breath, let it out, shake it out, clap it out, give yourself a pat on the shoulders. You're doing great. Hug yourself if you have to. I just started hugging myself recently, and it makes a difference. I'll tell you that much. And get to work. Let's get to work, guys. No excuses, no distractions. Just get to work. It's go time, baby. So if you guys don't have any other questions, comments, have a great night. I would catch you guys on the next live stream. Turn on those post notifications and subscribe. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you for being here. I appreciate each and every one of you. This is another successful live stream. And until the next one, my name is Lillian Hernandez, but you can call me Lily, like the flower, because we are learning and growing together. And this is Transaction Care. Care for yourself, care for your wealth. Your time is worth it. Let's coordinate. Talk soon. The replay of this live will be in the live tab. So if anyone wants to rewatch any parts of this, it will be in the live tab on my profile. Catch you guys later. See ya.